It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today as we finish out another week on the channel. It's a Friday and I'm making it a big time Masterpiece Friday today. I am happy that you are joining me. Let me tell you the story about how this episode came to be. So back in November, I listened to When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin here on the channel, and it was an awesome episode. I loved it. And I included the original version of that song from 1929. I also included a very interesting and reimagined cover of When the Levee Breaks that was done by the band A Perfect Circle. So while I was researching that episode, y'all, I saw that A Perfect Circle has an entire album full of covers of classic songs. They covered music by Joni Mitchell, Devo, Depeche Mode, and many others, but it was the listing of their cover of Imagine by John Lennon that really piqued my interest. So I wanted to do an episode where we listened to Imagine by John Lennon, and then I wanted to hear what A Perfect Circle did with the cover, because their version of When the Levee Breaks was so different from the original. So I've waited a few months. I've been a good boy. I haven't listened to the A Perfect Circle version yet, and the day is finally here. So let's get to it, friends. We're first going to listen to the John Lennon version, the classic version of Imagine, before going to A Perfect Circle. I want to compare and contrast the two different versions and see how they're similar and how they're different. It's really interesting to me how people cover pre-existing music and change things up and make it their own, right? So Imagine, the original version, right? So it's the title track from John Lennon's second solo album. It was released back in 1971. And something that I did not realize until today's read-in is that George Harrison joins in on this track. He's on the dobro, and Alan White is the drummer on this track. Had no idea. Of course, the song has gone on to become John Lennon's signature solo song for sure, with its plea for peace around the world. I've heard it many, many times. I'm very familiar with it, but I'm eager to hear it with all of y'all. So let's remind ourselves of John Lennon's original version of Imagine. Here we go. There they are. The nature sounds are quite amazing, aren't they? It's like a time machine. You're going back in time and just watching two lovely people walking in the park. Kind of little out of tune piano. Now it's in stereo.
It's easy if you try. No hell below us.
I want John's boots. Those look cool.
Sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries.
It's a simple song musically. There's a few things about how the melody moves I'm going to show you here in a few minutes that I think really lifts up the message of the song in a very simple and understated way.
Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer.
I love that he's actually playing too.
But I'm not the only
It's a hopeful motive. He starts on the 5th, goes to the 7th of the key, and before it resolves back in. It's like it's searching for something, but it comes back in. It's still searching, and it comes back in. It never quite gets to the goal musically.
Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
It's interesting the timing of both of these pieces that we're going to hear today. 1971, we're amid the Vietnam War, right? And it's a call for peace. Cute. It's such a lovely piece and timeless. I can't imagine a time when this song didn't exist. I was 3 years old, y'all, when John tragically was killed, and so I never got a chance to really remember what it was like to be alive while John was alive. So all that I know of John Lennon is what I've just seen in old clips, right? But this song, it's just timeless. I'm going to show you a few things here about how it works. We're in C. And when he sings, imagine there's not, he's going up from the soul to T. It should go there, but it doesn't. It jumps up to that leading tone and then resolves back into the 4 chord, right? So he lands on that A, and then we're gonna go back up towards the C in half steps, but it lands on that leading tone. It's not quite there. It goes back, right? We're searching for something. It's even, this Lydian resolution over the F chord. Da, 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 dee, dee. And then it's simply just imagine. I think I can remember it. Then it's just 4 to 5 to 1. Then a weird E major chord that doesn't go to A. It deceptively resolves back up to F. But I'm not the only one, right? It's just a lovely little tune, but it's that optimistic leap from soul to T, and it doesn't go up. It goes back down to that F. That's, to me, what really gives this piece its musical connection to what is happening in the lyrics. It's hopeful, it's aspirational, it's imagining something that isn't quite there yet, but it doesn't quite achieve its goal, and it turns melancholy because of it. And it's just a classic little thing that John does musically that I find to be quite exciting, and one of the reasons why the song just naturally resonates with us as listeners all these years later. So let's go to A Perfect Circle. As we recall, A Perfect Circle is an American rock band, and they were formed back in 1999. Their album Emotive, with all of these covers of primarily anti-war songs, was released in 2004, and it was timed to coincide with the American presidential election that year. So the version that we're going to hear today is from A Perfect Circle Live featuring Stone and Echo. And this was a box set that includes their first 3 studio albums as well as a DVD of their full performance on August 2nd, 2011 at Red Rocks Amphitheater near Denver, Colorado. I remember seeing a little bit of this performance when we heard When the Levee Breaks. So I am eager to come back to it and hear their version of Imagine. We've got We've got Maynard James Keenan on lead vocals. Billy Howardell is on guitars and backing vocals. James Eha is on guitars, keyboards, and backing vocals. Matt McJunkins is on bass and backing vocals. And Jeff Friedel is on the drums. Here is a Perfect Circle doing their cover of Imagine by John Lennon. Here we go. Also C. They turned it minor. How is this going to work?
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
They're singing it over a different part of the scale.
No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries.
This is fascinating.
It isn't hard
C major, but F minor. Modal mixture, using that E natural as a melodic note.
No religion to imagine all the people living life in peace.
Okay.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
Nice.
But I'm not the only one.
I think.
I hope someday you'll join us.
Major. Minor F. Classic. Major 1. Powerful. And a really darker take on this hopeful song, Call for Peace.
Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Nice.
I hope someday you'll join us in a world living one. Imagine no possessions.
Yeah, F minor.
I
C major.
wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of men. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us in a world within one.
It's definitely the same song, but they've taken some liberties with it. But it definitely has some differences as well from the original. Really always impressed when musicians find a way to take pre-existing material and completely reimagine it and reinterpret it. It shows me that they're not just regurgitating the same thing that they've heard before, that they're taking it in, they're feeling it themselves, they're empathizing with what the song says and how it's put forth, and then they're kind of, sculpting it into a piece that fits their interpretation of what they want to say in their own time. Really fascinating. I want to show you a couple of things as to how these are similar and different. First of all, the actual the contour of the melody itself. In the original, we're in C both times, right? Remember, it's an upward skip of a major third and then down to La of the key. And it lands on major 4, right? But what a perfect circle is doing is they're starting on the third of the key, and they're going to the 4 chord, but it's the minor 4 chord. Major 1, sorry. They're still going up a third, but instead of going up by a major third, they're going up by a minor third, and then landing on a minor chord, right? And then instead of all the people, right? They're going, imagine. I can't remember the actual melody that they did over those chords, but it was minor 4 to kind of flat 6 to major 1. And that's how they were able to build that and relate it back to the original, but do it in a slightly different way. Really, really interesting. The other thing that I notice about that's different is the electronics of it, the how it's electric guitars and a big band instead of a intimate ballad, piano-led ballad. We have the addition of a second voice instead of a solo, all of those things, but really fun to see how those are similar and different. As far as A Perfect Circle is concerned, and the timing of this piece, Maynard had been quite critical of President George W. Bush during the period after the September 11th attacks and, this time, the American war in Iraq leading up to the 2004 election. The social and political climate during that period is what led Billy and Maynard to agree to pursue this project as the band's third album. And Maynard has emphasized that the album is more of a statement against political apathy than it is a statement of anti-George Bush sentiment. There's a quote from him that I want to share with you. He says, "Look, clearly I'm supporting anyone but George Bush in this upcoming election, but I'm not telling anyone who to vote for with this new album. I'm still just trying to encourage people to think for themselves, to stop buying into this absurdity and rampant fear. But even that message has been somehow edited over the last 4 fucking years, and it pisses me off. How can the simple message of get off your ass and educate yourself be turned into a reason to dismiss our efforts? We are speaking our minds. We are following our hearts." That sparks memories in me of this time period. There was an immense surge of American patriotism as we all sort of banded together in the wake of the attacks on September 11th, 2001. And so there was this sense of Americanism, and we need to protect ourselves, and we need to fight back, and we need to make sure everybody knows that we're still America and all that sort of rah-rah stuff. But a lot of us were going, but not like what he's doing. Please, God, no. I remember driving with Megan to a movie, and we were listening on the radio how they were saying, well, the bombing is starting, and we're like, this is not going to be good. We just knew that we didn't feel comfortable about it. And when people were speaking out against what the government was doing in that time, it was interpreted by many as anti-American, and people were canceled because of it. I remember the Dixie Chicks just got, really lambasted for speaking up for anti-war sentiment during that time, and their career suffered because of it. And these guys put this out, and they're like, you know what, we're going to speak our minds and we're going to follow our hearts and just deal with it, so they're coming from a standpoint and a perspective of this call for peace, this eternal sort of call for peace and working together, and the world will be as one, right? We're like, that's just that's a feeling of this is never going to happen, and it, at least from my perspective, it wears on me. It still wears on me. And I think it's part of why I'm perpetually sort of tired and tend to avoid the news, because I'm afraid of what they're going to tell me is going on, because it doesn't seem to make any sense anymore. It really doesn't. And that's why I think the art is so important. It's just a way for us to break through all of the minutia and all the BS and all the noise and get back to, here's a simple idea. Just stop for a second and breathe and empathize with everybody else around you. Everybody's trying their best. Everybody's got something going on. Life is hard. Let's work together. And there's going to be enough resources to share. I remember the word share being in John's lyrics, sharing all the world. There's enough resources for all of us to have enough to enjoy this life. And so the continued existence of poverty and famine and people that don't have enough and just unnecessary strife continues to bug me. And so I really vibe with the version by A Perfect Circle. I also still vibe with John's original. It's kind of two sides of the same coin with two different approaches in terms of the emotional content behind the message. It's really interesting, isn't it? It's what makes it a great song and a lasting song, and I'm sure there's many other covers of this that are just as good and just as interesting, but I was really led to listen to this one by A Perfect Circle today, and I'm glad that I did. So thank you all for being with me for this Masterpiece Friday. We've been breaking down John Lennon's Imagine with help from a cover from A Perfect Circle. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.
It's the Daily Doug. Welcome to the Daily Doug. The Daily